homeschooling, distance learning, or virtual learning. Whatever your terminology preference, it's all become the new normal with the onset of COVID-19. Schools across the Bahamas are putting in place innovative strategies to ensure our students are learning. The principal and staff at Woodcock Primary School, like many other schools in the country, are busy at work ensuring that parents and students are given the tools they need to facilitate this effort.
For many of us parents as well as educators, distance learning is new for us. We're hearing words that were not common in our vocabulary. We're hearing more often than others, more often than before. You're hearing words like synchronous, asynchronous, whether it's going to be real time or whether it's going to be a recorded session. We are hearing words like, for example, distance learning, which is new to many of us, which is simply learning off-site or off location. So we have been accustomed to site-based learning. We have been accustomed to our children leaving home and they're in a structured environment. They're in a school setting with their teacher. This is no longer the norm today. So I want to firstly encourage you as parents, because I am also a parent of a junior student as well as a primary student. And so now my role has changed to becoming the primary instructor at home, now the teacher. I want to first encourage you parents to firstly be patient. Be patient with your children. Just as it is new to you, it is new to them. They're not used to your instruction method opposed to that of their classroom teachers. We are just learning away from the classroom. When we speak about retaining learning gains, it is important. It is important that the children are fully engaged as much as possible in their instruction. I want to remind you that it is important to establish routines. Routines are very important for learners. It is important for them to know, and as much as possible in your home, establish a schedule. They know that this time is when we will be engaged in learning. In the routine, make sure that they have a place that is they can work, that is free from clutter, that is free from noise, that they can focus. That is important for them. Make sure that they have their schedule. Inside their schedule, include their breaks. Include the break where they ought to have a snack. Include the break where they ought to have lunch. Include the break where they will engage in some kind of physical activity as much as possible.
Virtual learning is new for many students, and Principal Farquharson wants parents to work with what's best for their household and seek advice from their child's teacher to help them carry out their new roles.
Do not try to gauge your schedule according to somebody else's household. Your schedule and your routine should work for your household. That is important, because you may have learners that may be in grade 1 primary school as well as that of the junior school. So you have to find out what works best for your home. Your roles have changed tremendously. We are asking you now to do something that we were trained to do for many years as teachers. So now you have the primary role as teachers, whereas this was a role that we would have assumed in the classrooms. I want to remind you that we are here for you. Connect with the classroom teacher as much as possible. Connect with the various platforms that are there to assist your children. When you are in doubt, ask questions. Most teachers have established office hours. They have sent their personal phone, their personal cell numbers where you can reach them. They have also made provisions via email where you can connect. So there is no need to become overwhelmed or frustrated. Seek advice. There is nothing wrong with asking questions, because the strategy where you may have learned many years ago may not be the one that is best for your child. Please don't forget the physical activity, and remember the social, emotional well-being of your children. We have to remember that as we are feeling, they are also feeling. And so they may have feelings of worry. They may have feelings of anxiety. They also adapt feelings from us. So we need to be careful that we do not transfer our emotions or our feelings towards our children, because sometimes they internalize and they deal with these in different ways. So you may start to see attitudes, or you may start to see behaviors that may be uncommon or that may be new to your child. And so I want to remind you that this is a time of flexibility. When you see these feelings or these attitudes start to become aware to you, sometimes you need to adjust. Know when to switch your strategies. Know when to say, okay, let's take a break. This may be a time to engage in a family game. This may be a time to engage in an informal conversation. Know when to put those harder subjects first. For example, the child may not be very proficient in mathematics. This may be something you may need to do in the morning instead of doing it in the afternoon. Those subjects that the child may be very proficient in, there may not be a need to spend an hour on that particular subject, but you may be able to now delve into a newer concept or a higher level of thinking instead of that 1 hour there at a time can be used on another subject. So it all speaks to flexibility, it all speaks to adaptability, it all speaks to working what is best for you and your child during this difficult time for all. Please ensure that your children are continuing to read. Definitely, we know that reading and literacy foundation is the premise, it is the foundation for educational success. We have the newspaper. We have whatever reading material that you can find, and it may not be a hard copy of a book. Maybe you may have to download a story. Maybe you may have to find one that is downloadable and editable. That is fine. But the fact is we want to make sure that the children are continuing to read. When we speak about maintaining gains, this is where it is important. That consistency. We can't just do it some days. It is important that it is done daily. It is important that it is done intentionally. It is important that not only when they read, but we engage them in that conversation to build comprehension. What do you understand? What was it all about? What is the author trying to say? What is the purpose of this writing? What is your takeaway? If you were to change the ending of this story, what would it be? How could it have been different? These are the questions that we're going to ask. Inference questions where they're able to draw conclusions, where they're able to hypothesize, where they're able to connect the meaning from the story to the application in real life. These are the connections that we want to make as we speak about reading, because we know that many of our children don't have a problem as it relates to reading, the calling of words, but the problem comes when we speak to building the comprehension level of our children. And that is what we want to focus on. Overall, I would like to remind parents that we as a nation, we as a world, globally, internationally, we are in this together.
Teaching can be challenging sometimes, even under the best circumstances, but even more so during a lockdown. Andrea Adley, a parent of a 5th grade at Woodcock Primary, says she has learned a lot more about her son during their COVID-19 homeschooling experience.
Teacher is teaching, right? You have to be focused. Sometimes he get to the stage where he just go in a daze, just in the daze, not checking, and you're supposed to be, listening to your teacher one-on-one. So I told him, I said, you cannot do that. If you want to learn, you got to stay focused with the teacher. And I say, whatever the teacher teach in the classroom is what comes out on the test. This is really shocking. No one knows it's gonna be like this. But we at home. We do our little family thing. We stay home. We stay distant. If we get anywhere to go, we put on like the Prime Minister say, a mask, and we stay a little distant. Every other day we go into doing timetables. I let him learn 3 timetables, and I go back at him, and he say it out to me. He say it out to me one-on-one, and then also reading. He also read a story to me every day. We get 5 of them in the house, and me and my niece, we go like turn for turn, and my daughter, we go turn for turn, teaching them, sitting them down. Even sometimes we do Bible studies with them. We read a story to them and we ask them what is the story is all about and stuff like that. Sometimes they get a little lazy, but after I say 1 or 2 words, then he calm down and he say, I say, let's go. You gotta, you go to school, you have to, you go to school, but you still have to learn, you know what I mean? So he's not a hard child to get along with.
Like Adley, Levine Spit, another parent, said that her homeschooling experience during the COVID-19 lockdown has been a learning experience.
Naturally, I'm a very hands-on parent when it comes to my girls' schoolwork, but this time during COVID-19, it has been bittersweet. I do miss the teachers. In the beginning, it was very, very difficult putting all three of us on a schedule that works because we are currently working with one laptop. And so the older girl, she goes to Kingsway Academy. And so she has Zoom classes and she has all of this high school work, and then the baby has the work coming from Woodcock. And I'm like, okay, y'all, schoolwork are important, so I'll work in the night while you guys work in the day. And so that's kind of become our schedule, where I'll put in my hours at the office more in the evening time into the night, and they'll put in their hours schoolwork in the daytime. Teachers are heroes. They have a special calling. My girls are actually liking it because they asked, their question was, can we continue homeschooling? And I'm like, no, ma'am, not on my watch. They're actually teaching me things because I've been at school for a while, especially primary school in the 7th grade. And so they're teaching me things that I kind of forgotten over the years. It's also very good to see the 7th grader helping her 5th grade sister, her little sister. And so it's good to see them corresponding, and she's grooming her and showing her how to do things that she not so long was learning herself. And also the 5th grader, she's like, teach me what you're doing with the 7th grade work. And then I'm like, perfect, that works.
The Ministry of Education has 2 channels, Channel 295 and 296, dedicated to online learning. Smith, who also serves as the school's PTA president, said she did not need to use those channels because she has received adequate education materials from the school.
We are able to access the channels, but we have not been using them because the school and the teachers are so hands-on with providing work to keep them busy. I didn't see the need really for the channels. I mean, it works well for children that really need it and don't have access to the internet and a laptop or a tablet to get their work done. And so the channels are definitely essential for those kids. But for my girls, they are completely busy with all of the schoolwork because Woodcock especially has been very good with providing through the Google Classroom work to keep her busy. And so we've just been keeping on top of that. Down times when she has a little free time, she has a bunch of journals at home, and so she journals. She's a budding artist, and so she has her canvases out and she sits out and does her artwork. And so along with schoolwork, I'm appreciating this time where she can develop other skills, but both of them can develop other skills. Monday to Friday, I go to work, they go to school. We have afternoon activities, extracurricular activities, and then on Saturdays, it's run errands, drop to soccer, drop to dance, drop to this club, and so we don't get Sunday's church, and so we don't get as much time as we're getting now for me to really see their true character shining through. And I think the teachers get a lot more of that because they're in school longer with the teachers. And so I'm appreciating getting this time with them now. And so she's a bit outside of schoolwork, they're just focusing on grooming their other interests.
What happens if there's another wave of COVID-19 and you're forced to homeschool in the fall?
At this point, I'm fully prepared. In the beginning, if someone had said that to me, I probably would have cried. It's just the thought of it. But at this point, because we have our scheduling now, and I do plan, I'm actually in the process of purchasing 2 more laptops, so we'll each have our individual devices. And so I think with our scheduling, with us having our own individual devices, we'll be on our schedule will actually get better.
This is something new that we are not only experiencing here in the Bahamas.
There is a scripture that says, whatever was meant for our bad, God is able to turn it around for our good. Well, whether you believe in the Bible or not, according to these parents, COVID-19 has been somewhat of a liability, but they were still able to accrue some benefits.
There are a lot of positives that came out of COVID-19. We get to see what the teachers are seeing. The teachers get a lot more of their true character. I do believe that our kids are totally different children at home than they are in school because with their friends, they're more relaxed and open. I'm having a great time seeing what the teachers see.
I am Denise Pratt for Ed Talk.